Hambledon Mining is a profitable gold mining company. It's expected to produce something around about 26,000 ounces of gold this year from its project in Kazakhstan, the results of which are continuing to show an increase in the mineralisation around its project there. Let's talk now to the Chief Executive, Tim Daffern. Tim, welcome. Give us an idea as to where the project is at the moment, because you're producing gold, you're making a profit, you saw that at the end of your last full year.
Yes.
How do you see things developing?
Well, things are continuing to consolidate. We're well advanced with our open pit mine, and that's producing, as you've mentioned, around about 25,000 ounces of gold this year. We've been constructing our underground mine for around about 18 months, and we plan to start underground excavation works in Q4 of this year. So that's all going very well. We have raised some money earlier this year, which we're using to improve and refurbish our infrastructure and our mineral process plant, Sekisovskoye. And yeah, I think things are going well. One thing that interested me was the fact that this plant, this project, had been going for quite some time, but it wasn't until you took it over you realised just what the potential was. Is that correct? I think that the change has been that there's been perhaps almost an artisanal type of mining for over 100 years. At Sekisovskoye, Hambledon was able to invest in modern gold mining technologies, cyanide process facilities, tailings dams, high voltage electricity, and a large scale earth moving equipment. And this brought it into a modern style of mining, and we were able to recover the gold more effectively than in history.
And of course you're now going to start going further down underground, aren't you?
Right,
it's not just a surface mine anymore. How much more gold do you expect to find down there? What's the forecast?
Our current mineral resource estimate is a shade under 2 million ounces of gold and a shade over 3 million ounces of silver. So our open pit mine will be finishing up the back end of 2014. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be starting our underground mine Q4 this year, and we have an expected mine life of between 25 and 28 years, depending on costs and gold prices, as you can imagine.
You're getting something about 1.2, 1.1 grams per tonne, I think, of gold when it got those figures on the open pit. But when you go down further, it's better, isn't it?
That's right.
The quality is better.
Our in situ grade is between 5 and 6 grams per tonne, and we expect, after mining and its dilutive effects, to be processing at around about 4.2 grams per tonne. So a significant improvement in grade. We're debt free and we're producing cash at the moment, which we use for refurbishment and underground development works. And this increase in cash generation from the underground will allow us to continue the construction over the next 5 years of the underground mine, making it larger and larger each year till we reach a plateau of around 850,000 tonnes per annum, which equates to about 100,000 ounces.
What about the costs involved then going that far underground? Do the costs increase tremendously?
They do increase, but not tremendously. Sekisovskoye is a vertical ore body, and so therefore we've had quite a lot of waste to extract in our open pit. Underground we don't have as much waste to extract, so the costs are higher, but not significantly higher. So with the combination of higher grade, a little bit higher costs, we'll see a lot of free cash being thrown off by the time we get to around 2016. And our projections are that at the current gold price, or probably closer to $13.50, we see around about $50 million free cash being thrown off each year from the business.
How frustrating is it for you as Chief Executive to see your shares languishing at around about half the point at which Ambrian think the shares ought to be? They say they've got a buy recommendation up to about 8 pence. I think yours are just under 5 at the moment, I believe.
Yes.
How difficult does that make, or does it not worry you?
From a day-to-day perspective, it doesn't affect the business that I'm managing, which is gold mining at Sekisovskoye. That's day-to-day cash management and focusing on the business of employing people and managing machinery, etc. The group does have an ambition to acquire some projects, look at some of the good opportunities, and if we were to use our paper at such a low value, then that would be frustrating. I would agree with you completely. But it doesn't affect the day-to-day operations of our company. I
want to take a look at the acquisition potential in just a minute, but I want to go back to the share price and where it's going. And in fact, one of the points that Ambrian Capital mentioned was the fact that your profit that you got at the back end of last year was very good, but it did rely on this high price of gold.
Yes.
What are your thoughts when putting together your forecasts? What are you working for in terms of a price of gold?
Our forecast for price of gold, we use $13.50 for gold and around 26 for silver. So the current prices are much higher than that, which is a bonanza for us. So we're seeing some increases in revenue.
And what sort of price of gold would you need to have to make a profit?
For the 2011 budget, we want to be seeing prices above 950, which includes all our corporate costs, both here from the UK, government royalties, taxes, and all our operating costs.
Now, you're based in Kazakhstan, as you've said, with this particular project underway. Talking about the acquisition potential, are you looking in Kazakhstan for acquisitions, or is it going to be abroad from there?
No, we wouldn't say we're actively looking, but there are a lot of opportunities.
Right.
There are a lot of people who want to talk to our company. We're well known and well respected in Kazakhstan. So a lot of people are approaching us. So we do have a framework for looking at opportunities, and that is Kazakhstan based, gold focused, and projects that are above 750,000 ounces. But as I said, we're not out there actively chasing them. We just got to look.
But if they come your way,
well, we'll look through them, review them.
them.
We have a strong team on site to carry out due diligence, and we can appraise them and discuss them at a board level whether they're appropriate.
What's Kazakhstan like to work in as a country?
Well, I love it. I really do. It is a place that's a challenge. It is on the frontier. The climate is harsh. The winter times are down to minus 47, minus 50 degrees. Middle of summer, 30, 40 degrees Celsius. The government is quite bureaucratic, and the process for permitting and the like is burdensome. But we have a strong legal and permitting team, and we work through that carefully and diligently. And it doesn't cause us any problems, but it's not for the faint-hearted.
Do you have to have overwinter rigs? Do you have to have special rigs that will deal with drilling at those low temperatures?
In our open pit mine, we have some safety regulations where temperatures go below minus 40 degrees Celsius. We do shut down certain equipment. It's almost impossible to winterize at that level. And when the temperature is above minus 45, we actually do stop the mine. It's just unsafe to work in that regard. But quite a lot of our equipment is very well insulated and is protected from the harshness of the winter. We carried out a refurbishment program, or phase 1 of that, last year, and we've got a bit more work to do this year. And that did help this year's Q1 results be higher than the previous year-on-year's quarter.
Where do you see the company within a year or so's time? I mean, clearly you've got a lot of potential as you go further underground, as we've said, and you've talked about the amount of cash you potentially could generate.
Sure.
Where do you see the company?
I think in 2 to 3 years' time, well advanced with our underground mine, looking at closing our open pit facility, using the higher levels of cash generation to construct the underground mine and push forward to the point where we're throwing off free cash. I've got some aspirations that perhaps one or two of these acquisitions that are being sort of put in front of us may become part of the group. And so a slightly larger group, more consolidated in Kazakhstan, and a stabler, stronger foundation with the underground mine moving forward.
Okay, Tim, thanks for joining us. That's Tim Daffern there, who's the Chief Executive of Hambledon Mining, a company based in Kazakhstan on a profitable mine and looking for more potential within the area.
This film is for educational and leisure purposes only. Proactive Investors does not provide investment advice. The company is a publisher and is not registered with or authorized by the Financial Services Authority. Please refer to the full terms and conditions on the Proactive Investors website.